I wanted to ask
Thanks.
you one more question on your acting that really,
Mhm.
I've always wanted to ask you this, and it's kind of putting you on the spot, but when you were, I know you've done some, like, plays, I believe, like some
Mhm.
live. Have you ever like had a high or a low while you're doing that? And how well did that, or like when you're in the middle of acting in front of an audience per se, have you
Yeah.
ever had a moment where you're like, uh-oh, I'm going low? Like a high, you can like ward off, right? You can like ward
Yeah.
off a high, but a low, it's like that's an immediate problem. Have you ever had that happen to you in the middle of acting?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me,
I'm
can you tell me
I'm glad you
about
asked.
it?
I've had several moments like that. One that comes to mind, I was doing The Recruiting Officer, which is a really funny play that nobody's ever heard of. But I did it in college. And I remember kind of coming on stage and like, I wasn't really that familiar with acting at the time anyway. So I didn't really know the value of being present like I do now.
Hmm.
And there was a very small audience. So I don't think it really took me out that much. But the best analogy I can put to it is like if you're playing sports, like if I'm in, let's say I'm playing like wide receiver or tight end in a football game, and
Hmm.
I'm running a route, and I'm in the middle of the route. I'm like, oh man, my blood sugar is low, and the quarterback throws the ball to me. It's not like I'm gonna, take myself out of the play right there. I'm going to do the best I can to catch the ball, make the play, and then come off the field. You know what I mean? So it was one of those things where like I noticed it, and half of my brain was like trying to remember my lines, and half of my brain was like, I'm low, I'm low, I'm low. And so I think that maybe somebody noticed I was sweating a little bit more than usual, or I was
Hmm.
kind of like bumbling around a little bit more than usual. But we were in college and it wasn't that serious for production, and I just kind of came off the stage. Whenever it was time for me to go off stage, I just went and grabbed a Gatorade and chugged that, and was just back in the game like usual. You know what I mean? That's what I would do in
Yeah.
sports too. And that one I was like a leading role. And then another one I can think of, like when I was on tour, that was a very movement heavy play. There was like 4 actors. We also moved the set pieces, and we did like 5 short plays for kids in schools. Um, and same thing. Like I just, whenever I could find a moment to just run backstage, drink the Gatorade really quick. All my castmates knew I was diabetic, and they were very, very supportive of me. Whenever I had to go, like sometimes they would say, "Jason, go take a break." You know what I mean? Like that kind of, I'm that kind of person. I hate taking myself out. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I think that even a low blood sugar, if you're keen enough about, if you're in tune enough with yourself, you can kind of push past it in the sense that you can create a facade for the audience so that they have no idea, or even your scene partner sometimes. But it definitely takes you out of the ability to enjoy the experience. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I think that that's why it's so critical for me to prepare myself as much as possible. And when I was a tour guide, that's like a performance too.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll just be like, have a Gatorade while I'm like, and this is the Statue of Liberty, gulp, 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 and then that's Ellis Island, gulp, gulp, gulp. You know what I mean? Like I can just
Right.
do that sometimes too.